time to talk about New Orleans Saints, Nick. There's been a lot of rumors in the air, kind of hovering over the New Orleans Saints, and we got a story about that I think is pretty interesting. If you connect all the dots, all the pieces together, I think people will find that it's a pretty interesting story to land in New Orleans. But Nick, there is a bit of a situation in the quarterback room of the New Orleans Saints. There's three guys. One guy has kind of disappeared off the face of the planet in Jameis Winston. No one knows where he's been. He's been a healthy scratch for a long time. Andy Dalton is what he is. He's a great backup. I don't know how far he can take you. He's the Dalton line. But now the Dalton line has also honestly been raised, so he's below the Dalton line. The Dalton line has fallen below the Dalton line. And then Taysom Hill, he's great in short doses. He's a good gadget guy. So there is a lot of things going on in that quarterback room. And that's why I want to ask the Saints fans, is one of these guys your answer, or who would you rather see be at the helm of your team in 2023? Who would you like to be the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints in 2023? Let us know in the comments below. But Nick, what is this interesting news revolving around the Saints?
Yeah, so John Singler over at Saints Wire, part of USA Today, had an interesting report talking about potentially Derek Carr going to the New Orleans Saints as a potential trade destination for the Raiders quarterback, who, as we all know, according to all reports, and it's been confirmed, has been benched as the Raiders starting quarterback. He's going to be a healthy scratch the rest of the year. The Raiders are obviously looking to trade him in the offseason to get whatever they can for him. So Sigler wrote this, and I think this kind of alludes to your report here. I'm just going to read from it here. He says, Jameis Winston is the only Saints quarterback under contract for 2023, but it feels like that ship has sailed, and that might be an only matter of time until they part ways with him. Makes sense. You alluded to it. He's been a scratch, hasn't played much this season. Carr would give New Orleans an experienced starter under center, though he hasn't found great success over the tumultuous years with the Raiders. Carr has played in the postseason just once, though his MVP caliber 26 season was ended by a broken leg in 16. But here's the thing here, it says, this is similar to when Drew Brees was signed with the Saints once upon a time too, right? People remember Drew Brees with the Chargers quarterback for a number of years, had some success, had some injuries. The Chargers decided to involve him. He goes to New Orleans, and the rest, of course, is history. So I don't know if Carr can follow in Brees' footsteps quite to that level, but I think it's an interesting matchup, especially when you consider that Dennis Allen, the current head coach of the New Orleans Saints, who all reports, according to Nick Underhill at least, has said the Saints are not moving off of Dennis Allen. I think Dennis Allen was the coach who originally drafted Derek Carr, if you go back to Derek Carr's rookie year. So there is some connection there. There is some energy there. There are some ways to make the deal happen. General manager Mickey Loomis has found an unbelievable way to make cap dollars work somehow when it comes to signing free agents, making trades, and things like that. Obviously, the Saints need an upgrade at the quarterback position. Derek Carr becoming available really opens the door for them to potentially make a move here. What do you think about Carr in New Orleans, Miles?
Yeah, Nick, I think it's a pretty interesting fit here. As you said, in 2014, Dennis Allen was the guy to draft Carr to the Raiders. So they've got that history there. And we've seen all of these moves where guys are joining back together lately. Most notably, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams on the Raiders. That was a reunion. So Dennis Allen could be wanting to move back to a guy that he's familiar with. Derek Carr is a guy that you could probably get a little bit cheaper than trying to get one of these superstar quarterbacks, try to sign them over. And Nick, you want to spend the draft capital nearly you would to go get a top-tier quarterback. And at the Saints at 6-9, or the Raiders are 6-9, you could do a trade with them, and I think they would be willing to take any kind of draft capital that you could give them, because they're not in. They obviously, we say they're moving off Derek Carr, but they need to get another quarterback. So whether they move up and down in the draft, any capital they can get for Carr may be able to help them out there. So I think the Saints can provide them with that as well. But I think Carr needs a change of space, and I think that the Saints need a change of scenery as well at the quarterback position, because Dennis Allen, he has had some very good years in his past as an offensive coordinator, notably with Drew Brees. We've said that he's been very, very good in the past, but I just don't think the guys on this squad right now really fit his style. They don't mesh too well together, and I don't think it's quite as good a fit as a guy like Derek Carr would be. I think he's a much better quarterback than anyone on this roster so far.
Oh, easily. And I think when you look at what the Saints have to do, people forget they actually don't have the first-round draft pick, right? The Philadelphia Eagles own the Saints draft pick, so they don't have to make the move to use draft capital. They'd have to go back, into 2024 or 2025 to make a big move in the offseason for a trade. And look, I think Carmichael's a good offensive coordinator, like you alluded to. He's done a great job with quarterbacks in the past. He just needs better quarterback play. And look, Dennis Allen, he's a defensive guy. We all know it, but he wants a guy he knows. Every head coach wants a quarterback that he likes. And I think you get a guy like Derek Carr, you pair him with Carmichael, who's a smart offensive mind. There's no doubt about that. I think it just works, right? It's just one of those things that just works. And look, when you look at the NFC South right now, Tom Brady's getting old. He's kind of a shell of his former self. The Atlanta Falcons, who knows what's going to happen with Ritter. Carolina Panthers, we have no idea what the quarterback situation is going to look like going forward. If the Saints can find a way to get Derek Carr, lock him up, and bring him into the building here, pair him with Dennis Allen, who drafted him, pair him with Carmichael, a smart offensive mind, I think they have the tools to potentially be the best team, certainly in the quarterback position, maybe all around in the NFC South for years to come. Again, there's going to be a lot of cap dollars and things like that to make a move like this work. But if they can pull it off, and I think Mickey Loomis can, it could be huge for the Saints going forward.